Hello, my name is Nirvana Jheva. You've probably either seen me at Twitter or you've seen me at Top Cut Tables a couple times, or most recently, you saw me get smited by Leonord in the Round 7 Worlds stream. Alright, besides the name Nirvana Jheva, the reason why I took Nirvana to Worlds was, number one, it's my favorite deck of all time. It's the deck that I'm most comfortable with. It's also the deck that I kind of just exploded onto the scene with, because in BSF Georgia of 2024, I want to say, during Luard and Shiranui format, I exploded onto the scene by going 10-0 with Jheva, getting third place, not dropping a single game against any Shiranui or Luard player, and everyone was kind of like, wait, hold on, this deck's kind of doing something. But I also was most likely going to be on a deck that a lot of other people know me for, which is Leal Odium. I was just not having a great time in playtesting because my opponent would heal twice on me, and I would just kind of lose the game immediately after. And my head captain, Crow from Crow's Nest, everyone loves him, he told me, he goes, why are you not playing Jheva? And I couldn't quite tell him why I wasn't playing Jheva, other than just, I don't know, the lines didn't feel too comfortable to me. And then we laid my deck out, we changed some things, and then I did something that a lot of people kind of fail to do, which is ask for help. Don't think you're the smartest person in the room. You have to prove it. So if you can't prove it, ask for help. And that's what I did. I asked him, I said, show me the other lines, because like I'm missing some sort of these newer lines. Our teammate Ubi, he's been like beating up people in Georgia locals with it, so he just kind of walked me through these lines, and then eventually he was watching me just come up with lines that he couldn't even see, and he was like, all right, cool, he's ready, like it's fine. And at the end of the day, win or lose, my Jheva deck is very pretty, almost pretty much max rarity, just waiting to get my last SEC Trickstar from a buddy, and I'm just having fun. Win or lose, I'm just having fun. Like my loss against Sam Ho, Entropy, great guy. Even after I lost, I was still like, it's whatever type of thing. I'm still having fun playing my girl. It only just hurt losing the last round because, I didn't get to play the game. I got over-triggered while I'm on grade 1, while Leonor's 6 wide. And like, what am I supposed to do about that one, But that's pretty much why I took Triggered Worlds. So the moment that we knew that we were going to be on, this is like with my local guys, we knew that we were going to be on a set 12 format. It was both a groan of like not like the meta of the format was so bad, it's just I don't like being in a format for 3+ months. And that's just a really big issue that I have, and that's why Worlds last year was kind of weird, because Bob Saga was legal the day of Worlds, and everyone kind of just did not have a fun time. There was a lot of issues with it, so I understand why Bushiroad pushed back set 13 for English for this year's World, so that way we don't have those same issues. There aren't a lot of misplays, there aren't a lot of ruling questions that comes into play, and I understand it. And so we already knew the big boogeyman of the formats were going to be Heart Luru, Deep Lands, Vergilla, Minerva. The four decks that I just kind of went, all right, come on, let's start grinding it. It was only until we got a surprise ban list that happened that would go live the day of Worlds that I just went, oh man. And so it was dude, right? Everyone's like, there's no way this is real, right? But Vergilla was just slaughtered on this ban list. Deep Lands lost a lot of their defensive pieces, so if you were able to now punch Deep Lands really hard early, they had to essentially check that same aggro into you, and if you didn't, then the Deep Lands player would just crumble. Not to mention how it gives you the option, depending on the deck that you're playing, that you can just CB deny Deep Lands until you're ready to kill them. because not only are they going to deck in their deck a lot, so they're going to run out of cards faster, but they don't do anything without a CV. So it's just 3 attacks, small number, pass, and they don't have Harvest Elves to sack their front rows to deny you the ability to deny them CV. So you can just swing at the rear guards next turn, and then you're fine. And there's more strategies against deep lands rather than, man, I hope they don't crit me on their first grade 3 turn. I mean, that's still kind of the case with playing against it, but I mean, it's 6 attack deck over. Minerva lost a lot of its consistency, and then Heart Luru is kind of in the background of the hide and seek ban list champion of getting slap on the wrist with ooh, no red OT. But whenever we saw all that, we were able to just go, okay, let's figure some things out. With a lot of those hits, Vergilla checked a lot of rogue decks in the format, specifically because it bound and it went to late game. And a lot of things that people aren't prepared for are rogue decks, and that's what I like playing, are rogue and anti-meta decks, because it feels a lot more fun and well earned when you play a deck that, you know, it's not as common. People don't see it as much. That's why, like, my favorite decks are Odium, Ozzy Dahaka, Jheva, like, just stuff you don't see around the table, but are just such a blast to play. And they can still put up fights, and that's kind of what I was trying, is just all my different rogue decks. I actually almost took Phantom Blaster Overlord with the new promo, but the issue that I was seeing with that was I was decking out majority of the time. So if I didn't kill you by second or third grade 3 turn, there's a good chance I'm decking out. Especially just with draws, and people will tell me, oh, just run fronts, but you're playing a deck that just lives and dies by the promo, and if you don't see the promo or the pieces to find the promo, you're kind of also still in a bad position. But I eventually was just stressing in my prep, because I was like, man, my triggers have been blank. There was like several turns where I would go triple drive Odium, blank, 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 and I'm like, all right, next turn, blank, 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 and I'm like, meanwhile my opponents are like, purple OT, front, crit, and I'm just like, nice. Like, I lost our Vanguard Day UU Matt that I was really looking forward to, just trying to win, and I played Odium, and my first opponent was a Shiranui player who hit, he had no restanders and just goes purple OT, and I no guard his Vanguard, so I'm going to 3, and I'm going to 4, and then he goes second check, critical trigger, and I'm going to 5, and then he goes front trigger, and I just went, hell, I don't got a PG, I don't even get to go to divine skill, I'm just dead. And like it was just games like that to where I eventually just took kind of a break. I just said, you know what, my testing has been really bad, I'm just going to be on Odium, and then I'm just going to relax. And I ended up commentating our monthly circuit tournament that we have in Houston called Clash of Nations, which is a no OT based tournament, and that was played on banlist. So I actually got to see a lot of the cooking that people had with their list. I got to see a hard-going second deep lands list, so it kind of prepared me. Hi, Cat. It kind of prepared me for just like a lot of the different like things that a lot of people were playing. And I think a deck that I'm surprised no one played at Worlds, but we were really prepared for, was Token Rambu, because they have like 3 decks that just will blast you out of the water if you're not paying attention. Like, you have one deck that's a 16 crit build, you have another 12 crit, 11 crit, and the over trigger. There we go, final answer. And then you had another one that just at the start of your opponent's turn, you would give them, the opponent, their front row gets minus 10,000 power. So even if they superior call it to the front row, it's still losing the 10,000 power. And if that deck goes first, I mean, it's not taking almost any damage, I want to say. And then you had, I can never remember his name, but he's the grade 4. just the ability to deck thin a lot while having multi attacks, while being a 18k base Vanguard, and then still having a lot of like hand draw was just a very strong option. And I'm just genuinely surprised that no one was on it. But as we saw with the flow charts of Worlds, everyone was on Heartluru and Deep Lands and Minerva, so I guess testing was going well. But like I said earlier, with what maybe swapped to Nirvana, in my prep in Japan, we went to Panpoku, and I just did not have a great time playing into just with Odium, and it was at that moment to where I kind of felt lost. And 9 times out of 10 in my past with a lot of tournaments is when in doubt, Jheva out. So. Oh, okay. So in my second to last round, so in my round 6, I played against Astacion. And I had learned from one of my locals that Astacion is a very scary deck if it goes first. And I knew immediately as the guy sat down, because we were sitting next to each other at top tables for a really long time. That is super, super nice. And like he was like the nicest European player that I played against that entire Worlds tournament, which is kind of funny because majority of the European players are either very like stern cold or like they just want nothing to do with you as an American. And I go, yeah, no, it's understandable. I don't want anything to do with me either. But he was the nicest guy. We were going back and forth. He on my first grade 2 turn, I had healed down from 1 to 0, and I was like, shit, that's not good. If he knows anything about Jheva, he's just gonna damage deny me, and then I'm just kind of in a bad position. And the funny thing is, he stopped, thought about it, and was like, I want to say I damage deny you. I'm not sure. If I do, it is what it is. So he damage denies me. I go, narcs. All right, whatever. So I just made a Straw Irina, go into my grade 3 turn. And I was actually kind of glad that he damage denied me because I didn't have. I was kind of bricking. I didn't have the tools to make a double double crossover chest turn, and because of that, I just went Straw Irina, swung Vanguard with triple drive, and I kind of called it. And I was like, well, I'm at 0 damage. I know this deck's gonna go crazy, so I can take a couple of damage. And he no guards it, and I go first check over trigger, and I went, man, woo! God, this would have been a 9 attack turn if I had hit this with CB. So I just went, well, restand Vanguard, 100 mil to my Vanguard, and then I gave. The second check was a heal trigger, so I just gave the power to my Straw Irina. Third check was a front trigger, so I went, well, more power to the Straw Irina. And on the next swing, he no guarded it, and I hit. No, he PG'd it. He PG'd the second one, and I went first check, critical trigger, all effects to the Straw Irina. Second check, another heal trigger, power to the Straw Irina. And then third check was just was a PG. So I have like this book of a hand now, and I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes. And I just went 60 something with Straw Irina with 4 triggers on it. And he was like, with his 4 cards, his hand goes, yeah, I'm going to 4. But it was a super back and forth game because he resolved 3 heals, and then he also saw all his PGs as well. I think the saving grace was he didn't have that elt that sets the power to 5k, like the base power to 5k, because that could have helped him a lot with the fact that my rear guards are restanding rear guards, and so instead of being 23 and whatnot, they would have only been like, I want to say 15 with the power increase, so they lose like a good 8,000 power. And we were really nervous about the time because the clock had disappeared for like 5 minutes, and we were like, stares at my deck count, and I was, because the judges were very ruthless there. They would see you, they would be like walking around the table, and if they saw you still playing close to time end, they would just watch you like a hawk. and then the moment that time was called, they would go double loss immediately. And there was a couple instances where players would have to immediately like be like, I concede, like as soon as they would say time is up, and then the judges wouldn't even let them concede is the funny part. And they're like, no, I'm trying to lose. And they didn't understand. I don't know if it's a language barrier or whatnot, and they don't understand the word concede, but they were trying to say they wanted to lose. Like Crow was playing against Kenzio, someone who a lot of people thought would make top 8, and feel like he should. They were playing, and like they were watching the timer, and the moment time came, the judge goes double loss, and Crow said I concede at the same time, and then they were just going to mark it as a double loss. And then the fact that Crow was wanting to give the win to Kenzio, the judges kind of looked at him like, huh? And then it was like, so you're giving him the win? And Crow was like, yes. Sure, just report. And then there was times to where like you'd see some judges who would if the time was called in the middle of a turn, they let that person play the turn out in the first couple of rounds, which is really weird because it was very inconsistent, because you had some judges who were like, yeah, just play it out, and you had some judges who just double lost you. And then unfortunately for Kenzio, in the his very last round, round 7, it was a very close game and back and forth, and his opponent didn't want to concede. And he's playing Heartluru, Kenzio's on Bob Sagra, and eventually Kenzio was trying to just say like I'll just take the loss, I'll concede. And he had to get another judge over because the judge wasn't letting him concede. They had to get the head judge over, and the head judge still wasn't even letting him concede. And then they just kind of got into a bit of an argument saying that like I should be allowed to give my game, because like a double loss is just going to weigh my tiebreakers worse. Eventually Kenzio was able to like give the game, but the judges were very, very harsh. So we were like terrified throughout our game that like we were going to get one of those judges over, because we're at table 2. So like everyone's kind of just watching. And eventually it came down to the timer came back on. We saw we had 8 minutes left, so we're like, oh, we're fine. But the real kicker was he had been just turtling and stabilizing through everything. And so I'm going through this next turn, and I'm like, I need to Persona Ride. So I went drop or turn, Persona Ride, and I was going to go into a Mirror Spirina, but I was just trying to figure out a way to remake my Ars Virina, because my Ars Virina was massive. And because of that, and because I knew I wasn't going to live the next turn, I restood it with a crit. So that way, even if he miracle heals, he still has to like take this crit, because both Strava Arena and my Ars Virina both had a crit for my drive check. So I swung the bigger number first to try and bait out a PG from him, because he only had 3 cards in hand. And typically, whenever your opponent has like 5 or less cards in hand, when you're going for like big or small number first, you typically want to do your biggest number first to try and bait out the PG, because the PG is going to get that and another card, while if you swing the small number first, they can give you all the cards in their hand and then give you the PG. So there's like, you can potentially make it to where that they have less guard for that other attack. And it was able to get through, and super nice guy. Shook hands. I feel awful, I can barely remember his name right now, but I just remember it was from EU. And I truly hope to see him again. He's a great player, honestly. Very, very talented. There was no other judges, and like I'm really good friends with Sagrin, another head judge, and I had talked to him before, and normally they flew him out to Texas because like we need a head judge. He didn't know if they were gonna do that for Japan, but they have their own like source judges out there. Oh wait, there's also Corey too. Corey was also there. I'm surprised because you have like really good like NA. I only know the NA judges. So you have Quashi, you have Sagrin, you have Mimi, and then I can't remember his name, but he was at he's at a lot of them, and he was one of the people watching my games in Houston BCS when I won. and like there's a lot of good like NA judge talent, and but I can understand that they can't fly out like all these judges. Like a lot of the Las Vegas crew is really a really good judging staff. I'll be honest, like this season, my mental wasn't as bad as it was last season, because last season it took me the very final regional in premium to get my worlds up like last year, and that my mental was a lot worse then, because like it's really hard to just kind of like die in top 8 and then die in top 16 to like some BS. And then in this season I got my worlds invite getting third with Blankmeyer and Rosemont for the very first time, and I want to say like that one was a lot harder. I truly want to say something that's been keeping my mental up for long events or even seasons. Specifically with like a season, I'm really big fan of Haikyuu. So there's a lot of Haikyuu quotes that kind of they really push my mental state to make sure it's a good stable mental state. So like for one of them is from Tanaka from season 4. He says that like every couple months or so, he feels like he's nothing but average, but then he tells himself, well, Mr. Average, do you have time to be looking down yourself right now? And that's something going into Houston. I've never won an event before, and I'm playing Ozzy to Haka buddy fight, and I didn't think I could win the whole event, and so I kind of I've always just felt like I'm just above average, like top player. So whenever I was getting down on myself, that was clicked into my mind, and I typically always follow music as well. Music is just a great way to visualize games and visualize accomplishments, kind of like a daydream. For me, it really does help, because I try to keep myself very level-headed. I don't. The only time I will flex tops or ranking on VG Paradox is when people are just downright disrespectful, and there's a lot of people like that in the San Antonio area who are just really rude people. Not many, like, they're ruining their own local community, and it's just very sad over there. I just try to tell myself, like, hey, don't get cocky, but also you got this. And that's what it was like. I had to take a deep breath. I looked around the room, and in Houston and going into top 16, I knew who I was going to play against. It was a buddy of mine, but it was the moment I saw the 3 prison players that I got in top 32 in Houston had all died, and I just went, there's nothing but Bob Sagra, Vergilla, and Hart Luru, and I'm playing Ozzy to Haka, all decks that don't have a great matchup into this, and I just went, I can potentially win this whole thing. And so I unfortunately I beat my buddy Bailey. Top 8 was my own teammate Chris, and even going through there, like, making it into top 4, playing against Michi, God's strongest Bob Saga players, hitting all 4 heals, all 4 PGs, going all the way to grand finals, and facing a buddy of mine, his name's Marjan, who I have just a criminally low win rate against. And it's in those moments to where I have to tell myself, like, this is when it matters most. This is locals. Just putting some music on to kind of hype myself up, and to just kind of level in, take deep breaths, and then just keep telling myself, hey, we're having fun. That is a big key thing. Is we are having fun. You are playing a deck that you love. You've made it a lot farther than a lot of people thought this would be here. And I think that, like, in any regional, it's a lot smarter to play a deck that you love and enjoy, rather than just a meta deck that is like tier 0 that you don't enjoy. Because if you're not you're especially with these 7 rounds top 32, you're going to be playing the same deck for almost 12 rounds max. You need to be playing something that you enjoy. And because I've talked to a couple of my locals, because they also have started understanding that mindset, and they also kind of feel bad when they lose on a meta deck, because you're like, man, I'm playing this deck that is known for just playing itself, and then I just lost on it. So does that make me a bad player? And I have to tell them, no, sometimes there's just variables. And that's another thing that you have to keep track of is, at the end of the day, Vanguard is a game of variables. Sometimes the variables go in our favor and we're able to just pop off, and then other times it sucks. Like, and but that's really all I can kind of give is never doubt yourself, because 9 times out of 10 the thing that holds a lot of us back from going from good to great is believing in yourself, but also understand that the variables will be out to get you sometimes. You can get to certain points in the game to where you can play around variables. Like, I played around, I don't know how many over triggers in Houston, but like, you know, take a deep breath and look outside and be like, where's the line? What do I have to play towards? Do I have to play towards these more sackier moments, or can I play defensively and more consistently? And that's what a lot of people just need to take into consideration. Vanguard, specifically Standard, is not just this herder format. You want to just look outside the box, and the moment you do so, you'll start to see great strides. No, honestly, I think I played some of my best games of Vanguard at Worlds. I like my game against Sam Entropy. There was just not much I could do. I just lost dice roll to Heartluru playing Jheva, and he saw a yellow square when he needed to see yellow square, and can't really do much about that. I think the only thing I could have done differently was, since I was on stream, they made us put our name, deck list, deck log, whatever the name of a deck we're playing. And he handed the phone to me first, and then I realized that it's all in the same sheet, so my opponent was able to see what deck I was playing. And throughout the day, the Leonorn player was shown to go, he was fine going first or second. And I feel like, and he was really debating on dice roll and letting me go first or second. And I feel like there's a chance that he just let me go. He would have let me go first if I didn't put my deck log in. But I mean, who knows if that would have actually changed anything, but you never know. But that's about it, honestly. I truly feel like I did the best I could at Worlds. To be honest, a lot of people just need to work on their sequencing more. Sequencing is a very big part of Vanguard, and what I mean by sequencing is, say for example, you have a card that can deck thin, and a card that lets you draw a card. Typically, you're going to want to use the card that deck thins, so that way you can get the card you're looking for, and then take that card, the draw, after the fact, just so that way you don't accidentally draw the same thing that you're searching for. You know, there's guard sequencing as a really big portion. Sometimes it's better to give like less cards from your hand for an attack that you can do the same with a little bit, like same shield value, but another way, because that way it keeps like a blind check. Another part of that guard sequencing is if you're guarding with a trigger, make sure your critical triggers are the last thing you guard with, so that way when your opponents go to ask how many triggers are left in deck, and you can show them the deck, and if they don't see that many crits, then they're gonna sometimes overguard or play a little bit more scared rather than if they were. And also, never guard with the OT early. Only guard with the OT if you absolutely have to, because there's a lot of times in a lot of my games that I'm constantly trying to play around. Okay, what loses me the game here, and is it the OT? And if it is the OT, how do I guard for that? You know, so like I'm playing against Astacion. I'm at 3 damage. I lose to crit or crit OT, and so I kind of just. The best bet is to just I'll no guard the attack, because he's already out 4 crits. You know, I have this knowledge that he's out 4 crits. He has 20 cards left in deck. That means there's 4 cards. That means at most it's a 1 in 5 of him drive checking it into me, and another 1 in 5 of him hitting a second one. So that's a 1 in 25% chance getting double crit right here. So I feel like I'm in a fine position. And the moment that I saw my opponents would show me the OT, it's like, okay, I can now just 2-pass you, because 9 times out of 10 your opponent is never they're never just dumping all triggers on the Vanguard. Oh, my camera's acting up. But yeah, no, just work on your sequencing, and at the end of the day, just take a breath, and just enjoy your game. Because the small things will catch up to you like a snowball, and they'll help you improve from good to great. A favorite memory this season would probably have to be BCS Houston. It was my first event I'd ever won. I'm playing a deck that I truly loved and believed in. And the moment that, and it's against a friend of mine who I have a really bad track record, so it was like, it truly felt like a movie. And whenever I won, I just like to see everybody kind of just supporting my deck and like hoping that Ozzy takes it. And even my friends who were supporting me, and like the moment I won, the amount of like how loud the room was when I won, I broke down crying a little bit. And it wasn't until I went to go put my information in at the laptop for my first place finish that I turned around and I saw my buddy Luke and I saw my buddy Josh, and those two guys had been playing with me since the very beginning, and they were just running over to come hug me. And like, our little locals was a small locals in like the Woodlands. It was like the same 8 people every time. And anytime we had a shop challenge or an ARG there, like people randomly would come by and just like steal it from us because it would just we weren't the best of players. I think I was like me and Josh were like the stronger of the players, but it truly just kind of it made me cry even more whenever they all just kind of like tackle hugged me. To just like, we did it, we finally did it. Like it just, in that moment, I was back at my original locals, just enjoying everything. And that event really meant the world to me, honestly. That's a tough one. So event-wise, I want to say I'm so excited for BSF Vancouver. I had so much fun when I was in Vancouver. I loved Canada. I loved the weather. I loved everything about it because I live in Texas. It is hot and humid, and I hate that. I'm a born Southerner, but I love the North anytime I go there. So for sure, I'm excited for that. I think the only 3 BSFs I'm going to this year is going to be Vancouver, Houston, Puerto Rico, and then maybe Georgia. Depends on school schedule and all that jazz. But deck-wise, I really am excited for... Why can't I remember her name? She revealed as the villain at the very end. Zareth. Yeah, I'm really excited for Zareth. Not only does that deck just look pretty, the character who plays it is pretty, and I'm just like, pretty. I think other than that, I'm excited for my Jheva ride line because it's so good. The ability to search for Shrine Maidens. And I think Youthberg Phantome looks pretty neat. I know the deck's like high-key mid, but I still just like the art of it is really cool. I think the only other deck that I'm excited for is finding out what the Ren deck does tomorrow. That's my husband. Oh God, I love him. I have a fun fact. I actually have every SP Blaster Dark ever printed. It's actually what got me into the game. So I am so excited to see Ren coming back, and I'm hoping it's good, but I'm also hoping it's not like Ichikon broken. Sure. It would be a grade 1 prayer dragon that says on place, search your deck for any crossover dress card for Energy Blast 3, and then whenever it's made into a crossover dress, it gives plus 5,000 for the turn. Bush your own, you cowards! Give me a searchable prayer dragon that lets me find my crossover dresses. Like, I'm happy with the Shrine Maiden. However, it's not searchable. Kind of. It's kind of searchable. I mean, the new Grade 2 Rise Line does do that. Or like, I'd probably create another Virina, if not a Prayer Dragon. Have it be a Grade 3 Prayer Dragon that, like, as much as I love Straw Virina, you could give it the same thing of, like, your Vanguard gets triple drive, but instead of 10k, it's your Vanguard is a 18k base across turns. And then have it have the ability to, if you haven't drove check this turn, you can Soul Blast 1 for the drive check, because I'm gonna be honest, God, I'm not the biggest fan of Bar. I really don't like Bar. I only recently swapped to Bar. It's a funny kind of shotgun if your opponent puts you to high damage early. But, I don't know. I've never been a fan of the high roll nature of Bar. I've always just been a very consistent Jheva player. But probably one of those two things. Guy Heartluru, I'm so tired of that fat dragon. I hate that dragon so much. Oh my god, why does it get a crit and get massive before my Grade 3 turn? Also, while we are at it, I would hit Aichi-Con and Kai-Con in some way. Like, if anything, ban the Berry dinosaur, the dinosaur that just says it's a 10k shield. Whenever it's pitched, it calls itself to rear guard circle. Belliacro, I think it is called. I hate that card. Hit it. Get it out of here. I don't want to see it. Like, their deck should be strong, you know, but like Aichi-Con and Yakuza, for an example, your deck should not be like almost an auto win button if you go first. I don't like decks like that. I don't think they're healthy for the format. This was my biggest issue with Bob Sagra, is that deck was essentially the epitome of playing Marvel vs. Capcom, but in card games. You had a touch of death combo, and as long as you never dropped the combo, you kind of just auto won every game you played. And I think just going future, just stop giving us these deck thin over trigger slop decks. Like, I mean, Heartluru is a great example. Deep Lands is another good example, because they're just deck thin. Ava's an old one, but is like, it's still been around in the format for God how long now? All just because, like, Ava's a little overtuned. Like, you have a lot of pieces, and the moment you start rolling, that snowball is just so big, and the ability to choose deck thin. I don't like deck thin slop decks. Granted, I'm playing Jheva, who also kind of would do that, but like, at the same time, that's not our only win con, is my big thing. Like, there are times where you're just deck thin to see triggers, get a big hand, and then have defense on board. So I think that's really about it. I think Minerva's in a fine spot. I think a lot of these decks from set 13 are very well balanced. I think Magnolia Fantome is a good deck. I think Zorga needs some buffs. Baru Kreia is fine how it is, but it's just Mushi King 2, Electric Boogaloo. And I don't like Mushi King, but like, Baru Kreia loses on the fact of, hey, we don't have a 23k base grade 1 on their first attacker, so you're not losing a damage like right off the bat, sometimes 3 if they hit a crit. Thinking even like going into set 14, a lot of the decks just they seem fine, they seem fair, and then like there's the three abusers in the corner, you know, Ichikon, Kaikon, and then Yakuza. I have buddies who want Yakuza, and I want Yakuza to come for them. I want them to do something because the conversion rate for like those three decks are just way too strong right now. And I understand you're wanting to make these starter decks strong, but you don't want them to be like with support some of the most meta-defining decks you've seen in a long time. Because let's go back and look at the past couple of starter decks. You have now we have Aichi and Kaikon running through people. Before that, you had Sassion for a really long time, and JP was just running through people. Even Monster Strike was doing well before it got hit, which I kind of wish they actually would have brought that to English. I think the art style was really cool. And then Vergilla was like doing really good once it got its manga buff, and then once it got Alpha Knights, we saw just the explosion of these starter-based decks, and I would like to see, just if you're gonna give us a starter deck, make it kind of like it's good for entry people, like the Stride deck sets, for example. Like Harry and Night Rose, they weren't like crazy strong decks in their own right, but like you can still win with them. They're still strong by themselves. Like I don't see why they need to be printing such things, honestly. So, alright, my Vanguard Hot Take. Super hot take. If you want this, if you want the Vanguard community to, like, be lasting, do not be complaining about, like, the secondary market so much. A good example, there's been a lot of people complaining that, like, rare moons are, like, $10. And I'm like, okay. You do realize that, like, because of tariffs in North America, Vanguard has been harder to get a hold of product, and because of that, singles aren't going to be there. And if you aren't buying your singles on the secondary market because you're waiting for people like Ideal 808 to pump and dump, which that's another hot take. I think Ideal 808 is one of the most toxic things for the Vanguard scene, personally, because you want stores to want to carry your game. You want stores to want to carry singles for your game. And if you have people like Ideal 808 who are just pump and dumping triple rares for $1.98 even, and crashing the market. I think a great example is look at Festival Collection this last year. Within the first week, Ideal 808 was dumping all of their product for half of what the lowest listed people are. I think like a good shot is Kingslayer cards, and I'm not just saying that. I've been saying this before I was on Crow's Nest. Like Kingslayer cards, Strictly Broken, and Strictly Broken, as well as you have Estrella TCG as well, are just like some card shops that would typically like or always in that first like three things of people trying to give you a good deal. I mean, there's been several times I've worked with Kingslayer cards and Shenanigan cards even as well, to where like they're very quality people, and like, yeah, 50 cards is also up there too. Granted, 50 cards kind of has a sort of hero concept of, hey guys, here's this card I have so much of, I'm gonna crash the market for it, which there's times when that's good and there's times when that's bad at the same time, because you want the secondary market to not be dirt low, because at that point, why should I buy sealed? Like, singles are going to be this dirt price. I don't need to buy them. And same thing goes with, why are these singles so expensive? I feel like we should, if we can come together as a community, is just understand there are certain cards that they should be the price they're at. moons, rare moons, like, they're fine where they're at realistically. And to go on Twitter, Facebook saying, hey, don't buy these things, let them drop, they're getting reprinted next month. Understand you're doing more harm than good, because you want people to buy them so that way stores can see, oh, okay, let's get this. A good, like, I work for Strictly Broken. I can tell you from a card store perspective of everything, and it's been really bad recently. We went from buying 14 to 20 cases on average of a new set. We're just getting 8. We're getting 6. We're getting 4 sometimes. Just because, why should we, when the market's not moving, when people like Ideal 808 are crashing the scene? Kingslayer is an even greater example. They would get 20 cases, and now they're getting 4. Like, the Vanguard single, people want to praise, like, oh yay, singles are so cheap, it's so cheap to get into Vanguard right now, but at the same time, yes, this is a game, but who's gonna carry your game if it's not worth profit? Shout out to Crow, Mr. Antoine. Just, that man saw great in me, even from the very beginning. And the moment that he found out that I was looking to join another team, he was like, come here, like, snatches me. And then ever since then, he's gone to war for me. There's been some very unfortunate allegations made against me at a couple of events, and he has gone to war for me. He's defended me. He has pulled me out of the mental gutter, like, a lot of times, more times than I can count, and has also just not only kept me in check, but helped me become a better person. Also want to give a shout out to all my Houston locals. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for them pushing me as hard as they do. And I guess one last one is I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up here, tell my stories, and just get out there, because I do hope to one day be a Vanguard household name like Crow is. Just be like, oh my god, you're Nirvana Beast, or like, so I do hope for that. Main social is literally just Filthy Kaisa Main on Twitter is my @ handle. Because I'm really bad at technology, I don't know how to change it to